Hey, hey, time for 8.2. On 8.1, we learned about angles. We talked about acute, obtuse, right angles, talked about vertical angles. We talked about complementary angles adding up to 90. A straight angle, being just a straight line, right? So this is about 90 degrees and then gets more like 100 degrees, 120, 150, 180 degrees is just a straight line. And then we talked about if there are parallel lines and there's a transversal cutting through them, you've got these special scenarios where some angles equal each other, right? Corresponding alternate interior and alternate exterior angles. Okay, cool. That was kind of a lot. 8.2 is actually kind of a cinch compared to that. So check this out. Angles and triangles. We already talked about this. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Fair and simple. Right angle is 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is more than 90 degrees, but it's less than 180. Because if it's 180, we call it a straight angle. All right. So we're going to talk about triangles a little bit. And triangles are pretty cool little shapes, I would say. There are two different ways to talk about triangles. Two groups that all triangles organize into. So I'm going to make a big column here on my paper. All right, this side, we can talk about triangles according to the angles. This side, we can talk about triangles according to their sides. You have to understand this organization. Triangles, angles, and sides. Okay? Classifying triangles means just naming triangles. So, by angles, we can name a triangle an acute triangle. This is by angles because when you say acute triangle, you're saying that all of the angles are acute. All of them. Boom, boom, boom. If it's a right triangle, one of the angles is a right angle. It is physically impossible to make a triangle with more than one right angle. If you can do it, I'll give you $100. Show it to me. All right, and then obtuse triangle means that there is one obtuse angle. Notice this difference. 3 acute angles makes an acute triangle, but one right angle makes a right triangle, and one obtuse angle makes an obtuse triangle. Because in this obtuse triangle, there's actually 2 acute angles, but it's still not an acute triangle. Okay, get it? Now, we were just talking about the angles. Now we're talking about the sides. Equilateral means that every side is equal. That's what these little congruence marks mean. Congruence marks. Yeah, learn that word, all right? These congruence marks mean that these two are they're the same, they're equal, but this one is not equal to those two. This we call an isosceles triangle if there are only 2 sides of equal length. And actually this says has at least 2 sides of equal length. So an equilateral triangle is also isosceles. But typically an isosceles triangle looks like this, where 1 is a different measure. And then finally, this one, all 3 sides are different. We call that a scalene triangle. So, let's do a little test here. Angles, sides. If I said, hey, that's a scalene triangle, am I talking about angles or sides? I'm talking about sides, right? Or if I said, hey, that is an obtuse triangle. Well, obtuse refers to angles, not sides. So obtuse goes over here, right? Acute goes over there. What else goes over here? Can you think of one? On the sides, equilateral. All sides are equal. And then we would have what? Isosceles. And now I got it right, this last one, just to round it out, and a right triangle. Okay. So that was the first thing, and then here's the second thing. Look into my eyes and remember this truth of life. Every triangle, maybe I should have you repeat after me. Every triangle, all of the angles inside of the triangle, and no, I'm not part of the Illuminati or whatever group makes this symbol. Every triangle, the angles inside add up to 180 every time. Okay? Doesn't matter what size the triangle is. Can make that one. I could make some crazy huge one like this. 1, 2, 3. Those add up to 180. 4, 5, 6. Those add up to 180. You get the picture here? Alright, let's look at your book. Cha-cha-cha! Classify the triangle by its angles and by its side lengths. Listen, guys, I know some of you are not going to read the instructions closely enough, and you're just going to talk about it by its angles when it asks you to do by both. This is an isosceles triangle, and it is what? A right triangle. Boom. Okay. Down here, if this triangle, if all the angles add up to 180, how could you figure out what x is? Well, set up a little equation. X plus 42 plus the other 42 equals 180. Combine those 42s, subtract that 84 from both sides, and x is 96. Now look, does this make sense? You're telling me that this little angle right here is more than 90 degrees. Well, I know this paper is a 90-degree angle, right? On this paper. Well, this angle is a little bigger. Yeah, 96 sounds right. Okay, I compare everything to right angles. If it's bigger than a right angle, smaller than a right angle, it really helps out. All right, that's pretty much it. Man, we're only 7 minutes in. Let me show you how they're going to complicate this for you. A couple things. Can the angles in a triangle have the measures given? 1.5 degrees, 0.5 degrees, and 178 degrees. Is that possible? The answer to this is yes. 1.5 plus 0.5 is 2, plus 178 is 180. So, yeah, they add up to 180. Alright, you'd have to check these ones out and see if they add up to 180. But here's what I really wanted to get to. Sometimes they are going to give you an expression for the measurement of an angle. It's a little whited out here, isn't it? Oh, well, we'll deal with it. So how could you find, it says find the measure of each angle in the triangle. So if I was answering this, I'd put number 20, and I would say 70 degrees, because that's that one, tells it to us. Now, in my work side over here, I'm going to set up an equation, 70 plus x plus, and I don't have to put parentheses because it's a plus, 3x plus 10, all adds up to what? To 180. Combine like terms. A positive x plus 3x is 4x, plus 10 and the 70 is 80. Should I put it on this side or this side? Doesn't matter because it's addition. So I'm going to put 80 here. Equals 180. Subtract 80 from both sides. 4x equals 100. What is x then? X equals 25. So on my answers over here, I've got 70. I've got 25 degrees, because look, that angle right there is just x, which is 25. But then this last angle down here, which is kind of like 90, a little less, to figure it out, we got to take our 25 and plug it in for x. 3 times 25 is 75, plus 10 is 85. Boom. There you go. Now 21, you got an expression for all three, but if you just make them all add up to equal 180, you can conquer that thing. Alright, it looks like here they're going to test your knowledge from yesterday. If that one's 35, then 2 has to be 35, because these angles are called what? Vertical angles. And then 75 plus 35 plus something else is going to equal 180. Alright? And 3 is not going to be the same as 1, because 75 is different than 70. So, You shall figure it out, and you shall overcome. Have fun.